All right, folks, break it in here with some breaking news. This has been going on for the last few days. Um, if you are an owner of a Gigabyte board, all their Gigabyte boards from AM5 and AM4, every last one of them, um, recently over the last 2 days or 3 days, had a BIOS update. It's a beta BIOS, and it's the beta BIOS that fixes and addresses the Sinkclose vulnerability. Unfortunately, they broke Secure Boot with these BIOS updates. If you try to enroll factory keys and try to make Secure Boot active, it's going to fail. And the reason why is because Gigabyte poopied the bed. They neglected to import the Secure Boot variables into this latest round of betas. They've done this before and recently too. Gigabyte has stated that they're going to release an update as soon as they're done beta testing BIOS or whatever they're going to do. But there is a method on how you can do this yourself, but it's dangerous. You had better prepare a USB stick with the gigabyte.bin file on it, which is basically the renamed BIOS file from your board, a non-beta. Get that prepared because you might have to rescue your board if you're not careful. You might end up bricking your board and you'll be left to the Cube Flash Plus lottery. You've been warned. So you either want to follow these directions or ignore them completely and wait until Gigabyte fixes the issue with a non-beta BIOS. But anyway, here's what you do. This is a screen grab from my Gigabyte B650E AOS Elite X ICE that's in Edna. And if you notice here, what I done to get to this screen is I set Secure Boot to custom and then clicked Key Management. And it brings me to this screen. Notice how right here it says vendor keys valid. If you don't see that message, then you're going to want to wait for the new BIOS to come out. That means you don't have any secure boot variables imported. Gigabyte screwed you out of them. Good Lord, I hate living on high traffic. That was a lot of racket. Anyway, back to the details here. You should see, if you see this, if you see vendor keys valid, then you should be able to restore factory keys. And when the pop up says to reboot, click no, then go back. Because if you click no, Secure Boot should become active in real time. It should go from non active to active, and you should see it. If you see that happening, then you can save and exit and it'll stick. Otherwise, if you don't see vendor keys valid in your BIOS and under key management, you're going to have a problem. And here's how you fix this thing. Once you get to a point where your vendor keys are valid and you see this screen, click. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. What you want to do is insert an MBR partitioned or GPT partitioned, it does not matter, FAT32 formatted USB stick, insert it in any port. Make sure you don't need anything on it. And what you do is you click Export Secure Boot Variables. You will get a pop-up asking you which drive you want to save these variables to. And it's kind of hard to decipher because it's going to be a bunch of PCIe/0x0s, a lot of hexadecimal. But eventually in there, what you'll see is the term USB. Click that, and you'll get a pop-up saying NVRAM variable saved or something like that, or stored. Once you see that, what will happen is you will see this on your USB stick. These are the backed up secure boot files. You get a DB, a DBX. The DBX is all the keys that are blocked. And then this is the most important one right here. This PK, that's your platform key. That's what makes secure boot enabled. So what you want to do is once these are backed up from a working BIOS, you go ahead and flash to the broken beta BIOS, and then one by one, one at a time, export or import all 4 or 5 or 6, it could be up to 6 files, every one of these files, one by one. And you got to import them one at a time, one by one. And here's the bitch. Each time you import one of these files, the BIOS is going to ask you if you want to reboot. Click no. Do not reboot your system until every one of these secure boot files has been imported. Otherwise, your board is bricked, and you'll have to go back and try to restore it and revive it with QFlash Plus or BIOS Flashback. Once all these keys are imported into your broken secure boot BIOS, then you can, that's when you want to reboot. That's when you want to save and exit, is when all these have been enrolled and have been imported. Save and exit, go back in the BIOS, and then restore platform keys, and it should work. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until Gigabyte fixes it themselves, provided you trust Gigabyte. And quite frankly, I do. Because an MSI board, under these circumstances, would have been bricked. I shit thee not. Anyway, like and subscribe, and feel free to comment. I'll try to help as much as I can to Gonzo Media, and we're going to see you in the next one.